The Grassroots Democracy. Part-2, Local Governments in Rural Areas. In Part-1, we have studied about governance, and in this part, we will be studying about local government in rural areas. The real India lives in its villages. It is a statement given by M.K. Gandhi. So in this chapter, we will be dealing with these three main questions. What are Panchayati Raj institutions? What are their functions? And why are they important in governance and in the democracy? So let us now see how the government functions at the local level. So in this chapter, our focus will be on the local government in rural areas, and we will move to the urban areas in the next chapter. So in this chapter, we'll be primarily focusing on local government in the rural areas. So India is a country of enormous size and a lot of variety, and we have about 6 lakh villages, 8,000 towns, and over 4,000 cities. So our population has crossed 1.4 billion, which is almost 2/3 which live in the rural areas itself. So in our whole population, 2/3 live in the rural areas. So how do we govern ourselves in this complex society? So we'll be having different levels of governance. Now, let us take a trip to Lakshmanpur, a small village in the foothills of the Himalayas. It has 200 houses and a population of about 700, most of which are farmers. So there people cultivate their lands and rear cows or goats. Some have relatives serving in the armed forces, and a few younger villagers have migrated to the city in search of jobs. So what are the needs of this village? So primarily they are involved in agriculture, and some people went to the armed forces, and some people have migrated. So what would be the need of such a village? So it would require water for the fields and repairing the main road if it got damaged by heavy rains, or maintaining the village's primary school. So how will the villagers take their matters and study about them and their effects on their daily lives? And where will they get the resources to meet their needs? So what will happen if there is a fight about a land, or if there is something that the crop has been stolen? So many such questions can arise in a village. So can people run to the state or the national capital for such each issue? So if we speak about such a small village, and lot of problems can be arised. But it is not that if any problem arises, all will come to the national capital or the state capital, but it have to be solved in their region itself. And then come into play the Panchayati Raj system. So like every village in India, the Lakshmanpur people have a system of local government called the Panchayat, which refers to the village council. So Panchayats bring the governance closer to the people, making it possible for them to actively participate in the right making process. That is why the Panchayati system is also known as the Panchayati Raj, is a form of self-government. So Panchayats play a vital role in addressing the local issues, so promoting development and ensuring that the benefits of the government schemes reach the grassroots levels. So here we can understand. First, village level, village Gram Panchayat. Next is the block level, block Panchayat or the Panchayat Samiti or the Mandal Parishad. And then the next level is where the Jilla Parishad. This is the levels we can observe. So here it promotes local government. Panchayati Raj promotes local government because the people living in that village itself will elect someone so that They actually know the problems happening in the village. So, as is clear from the above diagram, the Panchayati Raj system works at three levels: from the bottom, that is the village, the block, and then this. So, this is called a three-tier system. So, together, these institutions' responsibilities will cover almost all the aspects of life in that particular place, from agriculture, housing, maintenance of roads, management of water resources, education, healthcare, and social welfare to the cultural activities. So, this is the three-tier system. So, now we'll study about the first one, that is the Gram Panchayat, which is at the village level. So, the Gram Panchayat, which is the closest to the people in the rural areas. It's important to remember the first level, Gram Panchayat. So, because it's the first level, it will be the one which is closest to the rural areas. And its members are elected directly by the Gram Sabha, which is a group of adults from a village or a group of neighboring villages who are enrolled as voters. So, basically, there will be a Gram Sabha who will actually elect the members of the Gram Panchayat. So, in the Gram Sabha, women and men will actually speak about all the matters related to their area, and they will take what is needed for the village. So, each Gram Panchayat elects a head or a president who is called the Sarpanch or the Pradhan. So, every Gram Panchayat, who is the head? The head is known as the Sarpanch or the Pradhan. And in recent years, more and more women have become Sarpanch. So, in the earlier times, there used to be men, but now, due to the allotment of quota, even women are becoming Sarpanch. These are some exemplary circum. So, the Gram Panchayat is assisted by the Panchayat Secretary, who performs administrative functions such as the calling of meetings and maintaining the records. So, the first one elected by people is the Sarpanch, and the one which is appointed by the government is the Panchayat Secretary, who performs the administrative functions such as calling of meetings and keeping the records of all what is happening in the village. So, most Gram Panchayats are also assisted by an officer called the Patwari in many parts of India. So, we'll have the Sarpanch and we'll have the Panchayat Secretary, and most Panchayats also have an assisted by an officer who is called the Patwari, who maintains the village's land records. So, he is specifically kept to maintain the village's land records. So, in some cases, the Patwari keeps maps that are generations old as well. Next, child-friendly Panchayat initiatives. So, Panchayats are supposed to listen to everyone's voice, including the voice of children. So, the child-friendly Panchayat initiative creates opportunities for children to express their ideas and opinions on several matters that concern their well-being, that is the children's well-being. Basically, Panchayat actually studies about the adults' welfare, but even the child-friendly Panchayat initiative has been brought by the government so that even the children's perspective can be heard. Steps have been taken in several states to encourage the participation of children in Bal Sabhas and Bal Panchayats on a regular basis, while village elders try to find solutions for their problems. In Maharashtra, for example, a few Bal Panchayats have worked to eliminate the child labor and child marriage. So, they have been able to eliminate child labor and child marriage with the help of these Bal Panchayats, and they have brought many children back to school. So, the Bal Panchayat members get together to convince the parents and other adults to send their wards back to school and not to arrange marriages for children who should be studying. So, the girls who should be studying should not be married. So, several Gram Panchayats have won awards for taking child-friendly initiatives, and we have an example from Sikkim. So, this is the Gram Panchayat in the West Sikkim, has given a lot of importance to child needs and rights. So, the Panchayat has built compound walls for schools to make them safer for children, to ensure the students get hygienically cooked midday meals, and the Gram Panchayat has constructed kitchens in the schools itself. So it is for these efforts that this West Sikkim Gram Panchayat has been declared a child-friendly Gram Panchayat. And this is the example of West Sikkim. Next is example from Rajasthan. The Children's Parliament, an offshoot of Bunker Roy's Barefoot College initiative, a few years ago, empowered underprivileged children in Rajasthan's rural areas through education and democratic participation. So, the children aged 8 to 14 are engaged in governance processes, learning about democracy and social responsibility through night schools and parliament like elections. So, the parliament followed formal procedures including the voter ID cards and campaigning. Elected representatives formed a cabinet overseeing the school management and advocating for community needs. So, the initiative fostered leadership skills and social awareness and enabling children to challenge the societal norms and advocate for change. So, children actively addressed issues such as access to education, sanitation, and social equality, contributing to the community development. So, the Children's Parliament initiative received many accolades, including the World's Children Honorary Award in 2001. So, this was actually brought on by Barefoot College Initiative, which is offshoot of Bunker Royce. That is the Child Parliament. So, it empowers the children and builds up their social awareness and leadership skills. Next, with this we have completed the Gram Panchayat. Now we'll move to the Panchayat Samiti and the Jilla Parishad. So similar institutions exist at the block level. So until now we studied about the village level. Now we'll move on to the block level and the district level, which are above the village level. So the Panchayati Samiti at the block level is a link between the Gram Panchayat and the Jilla Parishad. The first one is village, the second one is block, and the third one is the district. So this block will act as a connection between the first and the third one. That is the Panchayat Samiti. And these members of these institutions are elected by the local people, but they may have other members like the Sarpanch of the villages in the area and local members of the state legislative assembly. So in this block Samiti, they will be either elected by the local people as well as they will be Sarpanch in this block as well as the local members of the state legislative assembly. So the composition of this Panchayat Samiti will be different from state to state, but their role in strengthening the participation of the local people remains the same. So the members in the block, how they are elected will be in a variety from state to state, but the main role of this block level will be the same everywhere. They coordinate the matters across Gram Panchayats. For instance, by collecting the developmental plans from all the Gram Panchayats and putting them together to present at the state levels. And this facilitates the allotment of funds for such governmental projects and for the government schemes such as Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, which promotes the construction of all the Vedhar roads in rural areas. For suppose there is a village and it actually needs roads, so they'll first go and approach the block level where all the applications from various other villages according to the priority level will be listed and then sent further so that the needful can be done as soon as possible for the respective villages according to their needs. So at all the three levels, special rules have been made so that the sections which are not actually prioritized of the population can make their needs and problems heard. So these institutions also have provision for reserving 1/3 of the seats for women. Moving on. Let us remember the structure and functions of the Panchayati Raj institutions vary a little across the states. This is because The states have authority over those institutions, but their objectives are the same. That is, it is to enable the villages to take active part in the management, development, and of their villages and the local area. So the rules and the functions will be varying from one state to another according to the particular situation in that state. So the Ardha Shastra is an ancient script of governance written by Kautilya, who is later also known as Chanakya, some 2300 years ago. Among other things, it says how a state should be structured and run, and how the economy can be made prosperous, and what are the duties of the ruler, and how to conduct war. So Kautilya, an expert in statecraft, also explains how the whole administrative structure should be put in place from village to the regional capital. So the king shall establish a Sangrahana, that is an headquarters, sub headquarters for every 10 villages, and a Karvatika, which is the district headquarters, and for every 100 villages, a Dhronamukha, and for every 400 villages, a Dhronamukha should be there, and a Sthania, which is a provincial headquarters, for every 800 villages. So in today's language, what are the names which should be given for these four categories? So it is the same thing. It is the working that we have the village level, block level, and the district level, state, and the national levels. So in the same way, the governance will vary from time to time. So in this chapter, we have studied that the local government in rural areas is organized into a three-tier system, and the democracy in the Panchayati Raj system works both through the direct participation of the people and through their elective representatives. And the Panchayati Raj institutions give people in rural areas a measure of self-governance, as they can manage their issues and collaborate in developmental plans.